All right, guys, what's going on? Happy Friday. It's the 24th of July, 2026. And today we're talking about the traits that successful entrepreneurs have. And I love this topic. I remember being like 20, 19, 18. Actually, let's take it back even further. I remember being 15. Who remembers How to Be Famous? I forgot. It was by Michael McCrudden. What's up, OJ in the building. Hope you all family. Michael McCrudden, what they were before famous or something like that. What's up, Amir? And I remember being like 12, 11, 13, 14, 15. And I watch like how like Michael Jordan became famous, how Kobe Bryant would work out, the LeBron James documentaries. What's up, Alvi? Yo, Amir. Are you in Dubai, brother? Brother, you back in Melbourne. Anyway, so I'd watch these videos, and over time, I was like, so I'm noticing that Oprah thinks like this, like Kobe did. And then I'd be like, okay, Kobe thinks like this, like, Winston Churchill did. And I'll notice these patterns with people. And the more patterns I was able to collate and connect, the more I was able to replicate specific behaviors that would lead to my own progress. And then that led to, me watching TED Talks at 17 and then reading books, etc. What's up, Abdo? What's up, Kritika? And Kritika, my apologies. I've seen your WhatsApp message. Give me another 24 hours. It's a lot of footage, but yeah, even the photos from the shoot are still loading just because we recorded so much in a day. And at the moment, my computer is the main storage point. But once it's downloaded, it'll be worth it. I promise you. In Melbourne. Cool. Yeah, Amir, let's do something, bro. Let's do something August. Let's catch up over dinner. I think I met you once at that booth, like late last year, and we just exchanged details. But I feel like there's a lot that we could, connect on, bro. Especially that you're like a legit, business guy in Melbourne. Cool. Albin, hello. Tash, what's going on? Hope you're well. You still playing basketball? What's going on there? So anyway, it led to TED Talks. And what fascinated me about TED Talks when I was 17, I remember my parents were really strict, so I wasn't allowed to go to the parties in my area all the time. And one time I went to a party when I was 16 that ended up on the news. And after that, my parents were even more strict. So I was like, shit, okay, I need to find a way to better use my Friday evenings. So I started watching the TED Talks, and nearly every Friday for a year while I was in year 12, desperate to make it to the States with basketball, desperate to get good enough data to make my parents happy, desperate to just finish high school because I excelled. I'm not going to lie, I excelled with leadership and I was relatively strong academically and all these things, but I knew that I was thinking beyond the veil of high school. What's up, Jasmine Starr? What's up, Charity? What's up, Kyle? And what it led me to understand were a certain batch of traits that were synonymous with success. And if you instill these traits, I promise you, if you practice them and you're consistent, and you do this not only after 3 months or 90 days or 6 months or a year, but if you do this for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, I promise you it will work. And why should you trust a 26-year-old like me? Well, it's maybe because I've done them. And I am nowhere near the level where I could say I'm successful yet. I don't say that to be humble. I say that out of insecurity. I've got clients of mine that make $100,000 to $500,000 a day. I'm like, damn, you do my monthly revenue in a month. In a day, right? So there's always a level higher. And then I was talking to a friend of mine. He was a tech guy. And, he creates AI agents to do trading for him in certain markets. And he was like, yeah, he got connected to this guy that's in Saudi Arabia that basically flips oil and makes $1 billion a month. I'm like, this motherfucker's not on Forbes. No one knows who he is. This guy's like 34. I'm like, fuck, I'm a bitch. And it's not that money is the conduit. It's more a reflection of how big someone thinks, if they're doing it in ethical ways, of course. So anyway, what's the first thing that I've noticed successful entrepreneurs do? Age-adjusted internationally, cross-culturally. They protect their attention more than their time. And I can attest to this. You see, what I would say was to get me to what got me to 50K a month was desperation. Hustle. Jasmine, actually, I remember I was in Gold Coast. I saw you at that real estate conference 2 years ago. What's up, Albert? Albert said that's crazy. And yeah, at that time, I wanted knowledge. I had to hustle. I had to fly to different states. If it wasn't for Kusar, I'm flying for a real estate seminar. I'm trying to learn. Like, you just have, there's so much volume you have to do to get to like 10 to 50K a month. As Alex Hormozy says, you're paying off ignorance debt. But what got me to 100K a month was teaching other people. I remember one of the first times that someone else, apart from me, closed the deal in my company. As a not super emotional guy, I'm not gonna lie, like, I felt emotions in my body. And I can say that because when you've been closing, pitching, cold calling, demoing, driving to Mornington Peninsula, driving to Sydney when you have no money, just like forcefully getting these things done and you have no leverage, when someone else in your company can close another deal that isn't you, guys, that's the richest I'd felt ever at that time. Because I was like, I didn't even meet this person, and my team signed this guy up. What's up, Alan? What's up, a fragrance man? Good to see you, and thanks again for your help last weekend, brother. So, Oscar. So these things were leverage, and between 50 to 100K a month, it's leverage. And it's usually leverage of, I wouldn't always say high income skills, but higher income skills, right? And now, for me, my next milestone is like a 7-figure month. We're not close to there just yet, but we have the momentum, say, to achieve that this year. And what I'm realizing, back to the main topic, number one, they protect their time, all the intention, is I'm realizing that no matter how many calls I make, no matter how many sales calls I make, no matter how many Claude bot apps that I connect or I code, my biggest asset is my attention. Am I giving attention to a staff member that tried to take my client? We actually had to fire someone recently that tried to do that. And they've been with me for 4 years. That's life, right? Am I giving any emotional attention to that? Am I giving attention to a client that's complaining? Am I giving attention to the next shiny object? Because now maybe we can use the treasury to acquire a business that's super sexy, but I know it's a waste of my time, right? Attention. Amir said, let's run up a pod. We'll go crazy. Bro, let me know a date and where. I'll literally get my EA to book it and we'll run up a podcast, bro. I think we'll go crazy. I know that you're doing numbers too. I think it'll be cool for like people because in the Australian media zeitgeist, like there's still not too many like young entrepreneurs on the internet like that from like this part of the world. But anyway, what's up, Owen? What's up, Nami? Alvin said, "Woo, what's good, Nami? What's good, my boy?" So yeah, you got to protect your attention more than your time, because where attention goes, energy flows, right? Your reticular activation system largely sets you up for the day. So, for example, my whiteboards that are in front of my workstation, it's how many deals we've closed. It was the old whiteboard from like when I was 23, and then it's like $1 million a month, right? And what $1 million a month means to me every day. And at this point, it's not even about the revenue number because, you know, it's interesting. My brain knows that I can achieve that. It's more, okay, how can I create a salary opportunity for someone in my company to be the first one to get to 200K a year? I don't even pay myself that much for my company, right? So attention. But if I had in front of me, and this is why everyone's different, Lamborghini, yacht, cool house, Miami lights, Monaco, like, that's cool, but it doesn't like move me. But for some of you, it might. So you got to figure out where is your attention best to be focused on, because once you can master where the attention goes, things multiply. Something that I wanted to focus on over the last 2 months was developing the SDR team. And I was like, you know what? Rain, hail, or shine, whether things are going bad, good, or ugly, I want us to get to 50 SDRs. I want 50 cold callers across the world by the end of August. And when I told my operations manager, my team that, my finance guy's like, this makes zero financial sense. You're going to put too much stress on the company. I was in the gym, in my old gym. I was going back and forth with ChatGPT. I was like, look, I want to put as much stress on this company as possible because I know if I get 50 killer SDRs and they're all performing at the same level as my best SDRs, that's 200 appointments a day. And if our closers can keep mastering the way we sell, just by pure maths, that's like within 2 months we hit $1 million a month. By brute force. And I said it nearly every day to the leadership team. And they're like, champ, we use the word champ a lot in the company. Speaking of champs, what's up, Arkin? My engagement team leader, superstar. Albin said you need attention to details 24/7. 100%. You know, I learned this from Ty Lopez. He said one of the traits, a few traits that make highly successful people, like not just like quote unquote financial success, but like 0.1 percenters across the world, right? So he said prudence, which is high levels of attention to detail. Like almost like you're almost autistic about it. It's like, no, I want this. I want, you're unrelentlessly, I want this. And then it's also something called hypomania, right? So who's seen, I forgot which AI company, but it was like this really quirked out, like really weird tech founder, and mid-interview he just starts like jumping on like a chair in like an anxious like twitch. Obviously, I'm not saying these traits are healthy, but like even if you look at Warren Buffett, Trump, these guys are like 80, 90 years old, drinking Cokes, eating pizza. Trump dated a porn star like 10 years ago, like hypomania, high energy people. Like it's wacky behaviors, right? So it's a contradictory trait. That's why you have to be extremely important with where you dial attention. What's up, Arkin? Hey, champ. What's the second thing? They measure everything. They measure everything. I don't know if this stat is correct. I haven't read a book on this thing. But over the last 5 to 10 years, allegedly LeBron James has spent $1 million a year on his body. $1 million a year on your body. Imagine spending $83.33K a month on your body. Okay, say there's a nutritionist. Say there's a personal trainer. Say it's the food. Say you have your own farm for the food. But $1 million a year? Damn. That's someone that measures something. He's measuring a sequence of different sectors of his health. Blood tests. As of next week, I was talking to chat. And I was like, okay, look, this is where I'm at with my company. We broke through a period where we were stagnant. I realized the sequence of behaviors that lead to more growth and the levels of consciousness I'll need to access to be able to lead my team to the next level. Because in order to lead my team to the next level, I need to lead myself to the next level. Reading certain books. And I was like, okay, am I healthy? Yes. Could I be healthier? Absolutely. In fact, I came to the conclusion I should not get a luxury car until I'm jacked. Otherwise, I'm a bitch. And I know that sounds very flat and very simplistic, but simple things are easier to be are more easily received. So I was like, okay, this is my framework. What does this mean? What does to be a bitch mean? And what does to be jacked mean? Does that mean to be jacked just really muscly, but you're slow and you can't jog? I don't want that. Does that mean I can fit inside? I can't fit inside a certain car. I'm not the tallest, but I'm tall enough to where if I'm super jacked, it will affect proportions if I'm in certain types of Ferraris. Okay, interesting. So what does it mean to be jacked? I figured out the weight number I need to get to. I figured out the amount of vitamin D. I'm darker skinned and it's winter in Australia that I need to be taking a month. I figured out, okay, naturally, based on the tests I've done prior, my testosterone is quite high. Maybe I need to make sure that I'm containing that in a way where there's better outlets for that, right? Maybe I need to get better rest. My rest is already pretty good. What does better rest mean? How much is my REM sleep? When is the last time I tracked that? Have I tracked it since I moved into my new place? Perhaps I haven't. So I realized I spent 30 minutes earlier in the week. I was like, okay. During the morning, I sometimes don't eat because when I wake up and it's locked down, go. Because I know that I need to get a certain amount of conversations on my leadership team every morning. I need to be having a concoction that optimizes for that. And then for midday, when I'm usually doing more extroverted activities, whether it's jumping in for a final, Alvin says Dami tracks everything. They don't know, bro. Everything, bro. They don't know. Which is good. Anyway. I then needed something for the day. More extroverted activities. Right? I color, and then my EA even understands how I track things. She's like, okay, this is Dami's already done this, green. This one's pending, but it's important, orange. Da-da-da. And then I need something that, you know what I need to do? Controls my... It sounds so corny and cringe. I'm willing to sound cringe because I also understand that the more authentically I communicate to you, the more easily you can feel me. That's actually part of my growth. I mean, I've been doing that, but I'm doing that at another level now, right? Trying to. I need concoctions that actually calm my brain, not just brain down, because whatever, I can do that myself, but actually like almost sedates me by the end of the day. Otherwise, I just want to like keep working, or I want to keep like do a second gym. I just want to do something. I wanted to dispose of that energy. And I realized was a big change of this was because I was playing basketball for so long and I was working out 3 times a day till I was 23, that the first year after that, I would dispose all that energy with like late night walks at like 1 and 2 a.m. when I was living in the city. Melbourne's a lot less safe now. Or I would like go out every weekend. Like I just had to dispose of that energy. But now I'm realizing, okay, like after I look at all these patterns, the next level of me is actually learning how to like bottle that and then like use that for like replenishing. Because I'm young at the moment. I can get away with that now. But again, the importance of measuring things is it compounds. So I understand that I might get away with that till I'm 32, 33, 34. But if I don't optimize that now, then who knows, that could maybe be health effects later on. So you need to measure everything. Tony Robbins, he talks about seasons. There's life seasons. Albert said they know now. Well, I guess they do. He said that there's a season of growth. So for example, he says, I forget the specific organizations he's done this in, but this is loosely correct. So I think it's something like 12 to 24. You're in your, 12 to 28. You're in what's called like the winter season, right? It's all built from scratch. You have no leverage in the world. No one really I'll talk about it from the masculine frame. No one really wants you. You're like the entry-level employee. You get bare minimum salary. The boss is like, oh, this person's going to waste my time. They're like, you can't really, your value hasn't been amplified in the world yet. 28 to 40. Spring. You got some motion. What's up, Shari Cuts? I don't think I've seen you here before. Welcome to the live. and Alban, just remind them, as usual, one of the people that stayed to the end will win 50 to 100 bucks. Spring. That's where you've now started to get some leverage. You're starting to widen your wings. What's up, Fabio? Best creative director in Australia, by the way, and the world. Anyway. Spring. You start to get some leverage. You're not the big boss yet. You start to get some leverage. You start to get momentum. You start to understand how you're wired. You haven't mastered yourself yet. You start to understand how you're wired. Fabio said, you the man, my boy. And then, summer, okay? Summer, according to Tony Robbins, and he's a multi-billionaire, he's the one that Alex Hormozy is like, teach me. So like, I've taken a lot of Tony's courses over the last 7 years. And I'd say he's largely right. Summer. And you know what's interesting? A lot of people wouldn't think summer is 40 to 52. They would not think that. They would think summer is like when you're like 21, 25, 28, 35. Even the red pill guys, like the red pill manosphere guys, they're like, oh, a man doesn't peak until his 30s and his 40s, and women peak when they're in their 20s. From a biological level, there are truths to that. But based on when people actually squeeze the most out of their lives, well, that's a different lens. And I'd rather listen to Tony Robbins than a podcast red pillar or a podcast woman red pillar, whatever the extremes are, right? So he says that's summer. And he says that's summer because between 40 to 52, you have some momentum. Fabio said my guy is jacked. I'm not jacked, bro. You're the one that wakes up at 5 a.m. to do rock climbing and freaking miles and marathons on Sundays. So no, I'm not the psychopath. You're the jacked psychopath. So that's what summer is, 40 to 52. You have leverage. You have motion. You maybe now get that first C-suite opportunity. You're now maybe a CEO. Maybe you own a company. Maybe you've bought a company. Maybe you've seen the world a little bit. Maybe you've been through a divorce. Maybe you have a successful marriage with multiple kids. Right? What's up, Johnny? It's been a hot minute. I haven't seen you since podium. Anyway, so, and then after that, it's autumn, right? So that's why you have to measure things. When I was measuring my behaviors when I was 19 to 23, and I had such little momentum, it was so painful. It was so painful. I remember I was 20, I'll never forget. My ex-roommate, he was a North African guy, Tunisian. He loved to party. Loved to party. I remember I was on a detox. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to listen to any music. I'm not going to watch anything that's not personal development. I'm not going to have any interactions with women at all. At all. Like for 3-4 months. Like music, I would hear music while walking out. I mean, it was actually like extremely retarded in retrospect. Right? Good to see you, my boy Johnny. I hope you're well. And I remember he'd bring a girl over, be 4 a.m. I was just waking up. I was on 2 hours of sleep. And he's like, bro, are you okay? Your eyes look really red. And he knows I don't like smoke like joints or cigarettes and stuff like that. So like, your eyes are really, really red. Like, what's wrong? I was like, bro, like, it was almost like, guys, I'm not saying you should get to this level, by the way. I didn't get hospitalized after this, but I just wanted it so bad. Like, I was like, bro, I just have to get rich, bro. Like, this is so painful. Like, I've been trying for 4 years. COVID happened. I lost it all. I built it again, lost it all, built it again. My ex-business partner just stole my nightclub business from me, and I spent all of my savings, and I got hacked. And Albin knows this story. I had $10,000 left. What's up, E-Man? Albin said the detox is crazy. Bro, I've been at detoxes, bro. Like, and the detox was something I measured until I realized the measurement was incorrect. I had $10,000 left. I put it in MetaMask. I was like, you know what? I've got these 2 crypto projects. One of them got featured in the paper. So I've always been good at marketing, right? Me and my friend Yanam, we featured in the paper. It's called Shades of Soul. I was like, okay, great. This is going to work. My MetaMask gets hacked. So I lost 10 grand at 22 after already being like the nightclub guy. My clubs were popping off. You know, I'm not going to name the Afrobeats business that some of you guys know. It was popping off. I made my first $10,000 in a day with a non-marketing related business. I just quit my corporate job for the 3rd time thinking I was going to make it by myself with no help. I thought I measured it all correctly. I was wrong. Lose 10 grand, MetaMask, gone. I'm begging the support. Please help me. Please, please. Indian guy, sorry sir, cannot help it. I'm not being racist. I'm just being real. Sorry, cannot. So you know what I did that night? I went out with my friend Mahawi Manasi. Shout out to Mahawi. He's not on this one. E-Man said, been a minute, one of the best lads out there. Bro, I saw you a few weeks ago, bro. I said we need to catch up. I meant it. Let me know when you're free for food. It's mutual, bro. I hope you're well. And I was like, you know what? Because I knew what my patterns were. One thing I've learned about myself, ever since I was 17, I'm not the depressive type. Because I used to be. I used to be that. I tracked my patterns. See what I'm giving you guys real examples of why you have to measure and track everything. I realized there were certain times of the year when I'll get in relationships, and there were certain times of the year when I wouldn't be. I realized there's certain times of the year when I'll be at like 90 kilograms jacked and 78 kilograms skinnier. I tracked everything. I was gone through a lot. We've all gone through a lot, but a lot of people don't measure and they don't track. For me, for the last 3 years, not 3 years, for the last 2 years, nearly every single month I made more money. For the last 2 years, imagine 24 months straight. After 5 years of pain and despair and heartbreak and failure, you have a 2-year, it's like, even when you don't feel like you're doing what's up, Noah? But it's because of measurement. What you measure compounds. What you don't measure controls you. I promise you that. What you're going to realize is, what's up, Nikita? What you're going to realize is you'll be 40 and you'll be like, where did these last 10 years go? But it's because you didn't have the locus of control. It's as simple as, what did I do today? What did I do this week? What did I do the month? What progress did I make towards this thing? But that's why you also got to have reticular activation system on 1 to 3 things. Not 20, not 15, not 10, not 7, 1 to 3. Okay. Now, this one is good. And this one I think is very obvious, but some people might disagree. I'd say successful people collect exceptional people instead of exceptional opportunities. Now, I'm not Gary Vee level or Grant Cardone level. Whatever, if they disagree with me, take their advice. I'm just a 26-year-old kid trying to make sense of the world like we all are, right? But one thing what I've noticed that's worked for me is I will overspend on people because I truly understand or think that I have an understanding that the value of, in many ways, apart from, like religion and like God, in my opinion, apart from that is relationships. I will throw money at a good staff member. I will throw it, even if I know that I'm paying above the market. Throw it. My company does less than 10 million a year and I have 100 staff. That makes 0 sense. It makes 0 sense. Yes, it's very expensive and painful. But I'm thinking, okay, I'm 26. I'm only going to be 26 once. I'll only be 28 once. I'll only be 30 once. I'll only be 24 once. I'll only be 35 once. For all of you listening on this call, I'll only be 40 once. 10 years from now, what is 36-year-old Dami going to be thinking? He was able to grow his business with a team of 20 and he could buy the Ferrari and do the trips and and spend like crazy. And okay, cool. Or could he have an army of 10,000 people? Which one has a cooler story? I think it's a pretty obvious answer. I think it's a very obvious answer. Now, a lot of you might think, well, why would I want the headache of 10,000 people? Well, I would rather have 10,000 people that I think and know would, to some extent, sacrifice something for me. I'm not saying they all have to be willing to die for me, but it's like someone that has my, I would rather 5 to 10,000 people that we have mutual interest instead of having $1 billion in my account. Because with the 10,000 people, we can move the world. We can. There's people, I'm not the smartest guy. Not the tallest, not the strongest, not the smartest. But shit, more than happy to build with a bunch of smarter, high IQ, more creative people across the world. Why not? 100%. Take my money. Let's build 1,000 relationships. I can do more with 1,000. I can do more with 5 relationships than $50,000. I can do more with 5 relationships than $1 million. Not many of you guys can say that. A lot of you guys can't say that. Not because you don't want to. It's because you're not thinking of, hey, a relationship, 2 minds working together. If me and Albin are like, you know what? How can we blow up Kwasa? I'll do the creative direction. You do the editing. Albin, how many views did we do when I was your age, when I was 23? We did 1 billion views. 5 people. I could not do that by myself. Exceptional people collect exceptional people instead of opportunities. I promise you guys, that is the play. All right, 2 more things. So, again, this is another semi-controversial one per se. Actually, I'm going to end on this because I've been yapping a little bit longer than usual. Usually I'll give more space for Q&A. They spend more time... What's up, Rahul? I hope you're well, bro. I've been trying to catch up with the Vin, bro. He's acting famous. Mr. No Social Media. But now I hope you're well. Be good to catch up, me, you, and the boys over some dinner. Haven't seen you in years. I know you're jacked, though. Albin said, in the first week I started working with Kwasa, we got 10 million views. Come on, I don't make this shit up, man. Don't make this shit up, man. Albin, that's you. I could not have done that. You're Gen Alpha, I'm Gen Z. There's different tastes. There's different feels to things. If I direct movies when I'm 35 and I get a budget for 500 million, I'm like, yeah, like I know you've got these Hollywood guys, but my guy Albin in Kosovo, he knows how to run a clipping army. You know, so I'm going to go to my guy Albin respectfully. You keep 400 of that 500 and we'll flip it into 1 billion. People, all right, they spend more time designing systems than solving problems. Guys, this 100% is the one thing that has helped me keep growing this year. To be transparent, the revenue we were at in January, we've already doubled since then, mid-year. And I want us to double. Albin said Gen Z is also 2005. Okay, my bad, twin. You're a Gen Z. My bad. My bad, Albin. I'm not going to discredit you. You're a Gen Z too. So, you got to be able to design systems because systems create predictability. It's really, really hard to scale if you're the only one that people are relying on. And I still, till this day, I'm getting humbled by that. Like, my voice is not recovered from a fashion show I did for a client in April. Because I did a game show the week after that, or the week before that. And then a couple weeks after, like that, later that week, my voice was used. And then after that, it was like back to back, just like, I had to jump in with the sales team, and then we just like content like nearly every week from like Kwasa. I love the game, by the way. But that's why I'm needing to invest into measured attempts of also healing my voice at night as well. So, okay, controlling the testosterone and also like repairing my vocal cords. As if I was a singer, right? Measure everything, right? So I can hit the certain octaves of influence. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, then watch the live webinar that was recorded on Wednesday. I'll go deep into how to influence. But anyway, free plug. You got to build a system, guys. You got to build a system. And it's boring. And I know that a lot of you are super entrepreneurial. You're like, but Dami, I just want to go out there and build my product. I have the coolest fashion product. I have the coolest clothing brand. I have the coolest Claude interface app. B2B SaaS. I have the coolest, guys, no one cares. I'll tell you why no one cares. It's because in order for it to be successful, it can't be dependent on just your brain. One thing that I feel like a great entrepreneur learns to do is how to have a huge ego and how to have no ego. And I mean like no ego. When I did an interview with new potential account managers today, they always start off like super friendly, like, wow, you're so young, da 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 da. And then what I intentionally do is I try to get them to like actually like reveal more of like their truest nature with time. Because like I'd rather you be straight up with me and be like, Dami, this is a terrible idea. Dami, this is a great idea. Dami, this is whatever. I'd rather that, because with speed, or rather with trust comes speed. Right? So yeah, design good systems rather than solving problems. I'd rather let my team make a few mistakes so we can fix the system instead of the team just not doing anything, you know? Instead of the team rather being reactive to things. Okay, I've yapped a lot. Q&A, question, talk to me. Any questions on the traits associated with high-level entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs? But those are just a few that I've learned, and perhaps in my older age, I'll become more refined and share other things. But for now, those are some pretty consistent ones that I can attest to, at the very least. But the cool thing about leadership is you think you know it, and then it's like, there's another level, you know? Alvin said, what habit would you take from Elon Musk? Speed. Straight up, just speed. He operates at a different level of speed than I'm operating at. And yeah, it humbles me in a really cool way. I think that's the cool thing about learning about these guys. It's just like, they just operate at like a different level of like speed, you know, and velocity. And I get it. I'm trying to be better, you know? So speed would be my answer for Elon. I'm going to stay on for a few more minutes. Any other questions? I reckon he has speed now because of the level he is. Well, perhaps. I reckon he had speed for a while. And perhaps speed can be a tentacle of the wider word urgency. I think urgency is what him, Bill Gates, all these guys had. Just urgency, man. Just desperate. What habit would a young entrepreneur would need the most? Consistency. And being comfortable with boring things. You got to be really comfortable with boring things, you know? It's really important. Because if you can't repeatedly do boring things, you're going to struggle, man. Like, I do boring stuff all the time. Like, all the time. Like, if you saw my day to day, you'd be like, oh, like, I want to do this, I want to do that. But it's like, really, it's just like, wake up, deal with I deal with at least 3 to 5 very awkward or stressful conversations a day. Whether I have to fire someone, whether someone tried to steal money, whether something got hacked, whether I have to promote someone, whether I have to demote someone, or someone tells me bad news. Oh, my dad died. Oh, my cat's sick. Can you pay my money in advance? Or I'm like, people come with all kinds of emotional needs, you know? I've got dysmenorrhea. A lot of you won't know what that is, but if you're a female, you know what that is. Like, you just have to deal with a lot of personal things, which is fine. That's my job. But if you can't deal with the mundane, boring things, you're going to struggle to make like real money. Real money, by the way, I would say is anything 25 million and above a year. That's why that's why when people say like, you're making money, like, I'm really not. I'm not saying that. It's just because real money is like, you don't look at the account. I'll look at the account. I know I'm good, but I'll still just out of like scarcity, I'll still look. Right? And I'll be like, okay, which card do I want to use? Real money, you don't know how much you have. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's 25M above. Because one day you could be worth 12.5, another day you could be worth 60. You know what I'm saying? And you still are trying to make more, but like, yeah. And if you're a young entrepreneur, you got to get used to boring. Like, I don't think I'll be like FU rich till like 28 at this rate. But even at that level, like, let's be honest, like, I'll probably want to, like, I'll just keep building. Like, I'm not stopping. I don't think I'll stop for like a while until I can satiate a lot of my creative, like, inclinations, you know? Anyway, that's a different session. That could be another 3-hour session. I'm not going to do that today. All right, final question, statement, habit, request before I drink some water and break off for tonight. Year by year, we'll get better. It has to, man. And look, it will because it's measured. It will because I have great people. It will because I'm willing to also do boring things day by day. Everything else is in God's hands. By the way, I'm at a stage where I'm enjoying the journey. I love how hard it gets. I love that people generally do not know how. I had a guy, he was in his, I'll end with this. I had a guy in his 40s or 50s, he jumped on my webinar. He's been doing business for 20 years, has a staff of 5 people. And he's very proud of himself and he's accomplished a lot. And he was like, mate, like, yeah, I love how you break down influence, the storytelling frameworks. I teach my team how to do it. But he's like, and Dami, what I like about you is you keep it real. You say business is freaking hard. Because it's fun. And he's an Aussie guy. He's like, mate, it's fucking hard. I was like, mate, it is fucking hard, isn't it? and it's hard because you realize where your flaws are. It's like you have a parent that says you're not good enough at a sport and you play your heart out every day. You train every day, but you're still told you're not good enough. That's essentially what entrepreneurship is. Because even when you make money, you realize there's another tier of managing that money. But it's also very rewarding because you get to grow. My leadership level a month ago is not as good as the leadership level I am at today. Like, it's that rapid. I feel like I was not a man till I was like 24. But I definitely was a man from 24. But I feel like a lot of men aren't men, period. And I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about business. It's more just personal development. It's like, bro, you're like that reactive to like that situation. Damn, bro. Really? You're a grown man. You're that reactive to me? Crazy. How you not a real man yet? You're still a little boy. You're just a little boy with gray hair. Right? I'm just being for real, guys. Like, but I'm also comfortable speaking in a direct way. I was not this comfortable speaking direct to like a man, like properly direct, until I was, I would say, 25. To any kind of man. Rich, poor, tall, short. I don't think I had that skill till 25. Early last year, late 2024. I don't think I did. Because a lot of men, they won't even sound like their truest voice in front of another man because they're like scared. There's all these little things. Like, I feel like that I've just been exposed. And I'm grateful for that growth. So I promise you guys, like, whatever journey you pick, measure everything. Okay? Collect good people around you. And build with your people. A lot of people, they make jokes on Instagram. It's like, hey, when I make it, I'm not going to... Like, first of all, you will never, for the most part, feel like you've made it. You might feel it fleetingly, like you buy the car, or like you can be like, I made 10K a month with the business and you can post it on YouTube, or you fly. But ultimately, once you go to enough countries, food's still food. Architecture is still architecture. Humans are still humans. There's still a bathroom. People still have to piss. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a human at the end of the day, bro. And you will be lonely if you're the one alone in a penthouse with 3M in your account in your mid-20s. You will be lonely if you didn't collect good people along the way. I promise you that. I promise you that. Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Back to lives next Friday. I think next Friday is a generic Q&A. We got game shows dropping every week. I think 1 to 2 game shows a week. From next week, the next game shows that are being recorded in August, I think, are me versus crypto people, me versus fitness influencers, me versus recruiters. And then I forgot the 4th one. But tap in. If that's a fit for you, you know what to do. Comment, respond, and Abel will announce the winner. One love, peace. Have a great weekend. Let's take over. Let's go.